Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to Disco Elysium. Hello, it's Monday morning, and I'm back to Retrograde Amnesia, the antique bookshop, and I'm carrying a torch, and it's definitely not dark enough to be carrying a torch. I hope you've all had a marvellous weekend. I had a weekend. Indeed I did. What do we need to be carrying around in this hand? I don't think we need anything in this hand at the moment. There's nothing that we could possibly use. Let's have a look at our journal. We investigate the doomed commercial area. Interrogate the vigilantes. Find Morel, the cryptozoologist. The Union booth. Find out what they know about the hanging in Martinez. People say the commercial building on the plaza is cursed. No business will ever thrive there without going bankrupt. You promised Plaisance you'll look into it. Enter the sealed door behind the bookstore and find out what happened to the companies there. Search for the malignant entity. Plaisance says she lives inside a chimney. Let's go and have a look. Let's go back downstairs. This might be the quickest way. It might not be the quickest way, but it's the way we're going to go into the basement. Is it in the basement? Or is it just a weird side corridor? Oh, we need to get our torch back out. Now that I've put the torch away, of course, now we need it back out. It's this door, isn't it? This leads to a weird cellar of some description. Now, who lives up this chimney? Do we think it's a character we've met already? Hello, in the furnace. Oh, we war painted. Something breaks loose in you. A mighty bellow echoes throughout the chimney's depths. The chatter of tiny voices above suddenly cease. Then, you hear a woman's voice answer. You've awakened the entity. I summon the ghost of the doomed commercial area. Answer me, spirit.
Hello? Did you say anything? I can't hear you. Please come upstairs. There is a safety curtain on the second floor. I'll open it.
Oh, okay. You hear a low rumbling upstairs. The sound of a curtain being pulled aside. The lieutenant nods, then points upstairs. After you, officer. A hollow ring. That was stupid. Why did you do that? Why did you do that, detective? I'll be honest, it feels great to be back in Martinez. After a weekend of not exploring Martinez, I feel a little unfulfilled. I'm hoping that this will mean we get filled. Hello there. Spooky corridor lady. Oh, how are you?
Hello. I'm Nia.
A bird-like woman sits on a throne of tools with emerald light shining through her hair. This is somebody that worked for the computer game for the game company, I guess.
Did you try knocking on my window? I must have missed you. I've been listening to my Melius.
She taps on her headphones.
So what kind of die are you looking for?
Could this be the malicious entity? Perhaps it's wise to go along with this masquerade for now. What do you mean by milieu?
Yes, a milieu is like a calling station. You need a two-way radio to access one. That's why I have these. Mostly, they just teach you to swear in different languages. But some of the stations can be quite interesting. I was so absorbed, I must have missed you knocking.
Why are you asking me about dice?
I'm a novelty dice maker. Tell me the name of your role-playing system and I'll make the die you need. That's why you're here, yes?
As she speaks, her bone-like fingers fiddle with a ring. her bones light, but her hands strong. Sure, I like role-playing games, and I need some dice.
Very good. My rate is 10 real per set, unless you want something really unusual. Take a look around and see if there is any particular stone you want to use.
The walls around her are covered with rows of precious stones and minerals. This person means you, or no one else, absolutely no harm. She will answer freely and honestly. How did you become a dice maker? How did I become one? It was a business decision. I was a regular jeweller at first, but that's an unfocused field with too much competition. Some of my friends were role players. They asked me to make some polyhedral dice out of cobalt. That was my first order. I grew from there. Do you like role-playing games yourself? Not especially. I like working with rare materials and a steady pay. And role players as customers. They're nice people. She's thankful for the security they provide her. What do you know about the man who was lynched behind the whirling in rags? I doubt she knows anything. Nothing really. I didn't know him. Who cares about the dead body? We might be dealing with a malignant entity here. The lieutenant looks at his notebook, then the woman under the large window. Your window looks directly into the courtyard. You're saying you didn't see or hear anything unusual last Sunday evening? I'm sorry, detective, but as you know, I usually have my headphones on when I'm working. It shuts out most of the daily ruckus behind my window. What do you mean by daily ruckus? Well, there's always something going on in the Whirling's backyard. She stops to try and come up with an example. During daytime, there are usually those kids, and lately, I've been seeing a lot of drunk workers hanging about. Probably because of the strike. She's not sorry to disappoint you. Informing on someone in a murder investigation would intrude upon her focused existence. She looks up at the window. Pale light comes in. But I never saw anyone during that fateful Sunday night, I'm afraid. And you never took off your eyes off your work to look out the window? I might have, she admits. But in this case, all I could have seen would have been my own reflection staring back from the darkness. It's really hard to make anything out in the yard when it's dark outside. Besides, I rarely get up to look out the window when I'm in the zone. Do you often work Sunday nights? It's an odd profession, making dice for people, but I like it, and I prefer doing this to sitting at home. Thanks for the answers. Where are we anyway? What is this place? We're inside the chimney of an old central furnace. It's strange, I know. She looks up at the ruddy bricks that make up the walls. Even though they've been repainted, there are still signs of coal-black soot here and there. But when I arrived here, all the other rooms were taken, so I had to build myself a makeshift home. Besides, I don't really have to pay any rent here, so that's a plus. Plaisance was right. There's an entity living in the chimney. You should ask her about the curse. Creative. The lieutenant looks around in the spacious room, its ceiling fading into shadows above. I've heard this place is cursed. Did you know that the people call it the doomed commercial area? I've heard the story, she nods, as the wind howls in the furnace shaft above, but I don't think those stories are true. Plaisance is the one who sent me. She's convinced that the place is swarming with malicious entities. Plaisance? The bookshop lady? She raises her brows. I've heard that her business is doing rather well. Have the energies spared her somehow? Actually, the bookstore isn't doing that well. There are hardly any customers and she has to exploit her own daughter to keep the company going. Alright, but it's not just the bookstore that's still up and running. What about the whirling in rags? Some people say it's part of the building complex. Hold on, the whirling is part of the doomed commercial area? You could say so. Both houses were built at the same time and under the East Delta Commerce Centre project. No, the whirling isn't doing well. The waitress just took off and the customers are having trouble paying their bills. And then there's me, she sighs, looking at her messy work table. All kinds of tools lie there scattered, from knives to carving flies to wire cutters. I don't know if a carving fly is an item that actually exists or if it's a misspelling of file. I've been here 14 years, selling novelty dice to role-playing enthusiasts. Not exactly a million-real business idea, yet somehow I've managed, despite the talk of malicious energies. Strange, isn't it? It's because she's in cahoots with the demons. I'll be the first to admit there are many inconsistencies in this so-called curse. I was just about to ask, what do you think? Do you think the curse is real? The jig is up. The she-demon knows you've uncovered her true identity. Time has come to face the source. Fear not, for the forces of the universe are supporting you in this psychic quest. This world is a puzzling place. Is it now? She squints at you from her desk. I've always thought it was a rather mundane and boring place with no supernatural surprises in sight. Well, if you ever find a way to explain all those inconsistencies in the curse, let me know. She turns back to her work. Do you know what happened to other tenants? Everyone else is gone. More or less. She adjusts the yellow scarf that covers her hair. Are you interested in anyone specific? Rats scuttle in the dark rooms under the abandoned blow dryers and dusty mannequins. Cobwebs cover rotors and radio computers alike. So much failure. There used to be a hair salon here, right? Yeah, I think it was called Androgynous Orlando or something similar. They weren't a big hit around here. Turns out that working class men don't like genderless haircuts. They're scared of that word. You wouldn't like it either. The others would laugh at you. What's wrong with a bit of experimenting? The customers should have been more open-minded. I guess it just wasn't the time yet. She tucks a strand of hair under the headscarf. What happened to the gym? It wasn't merely a gym. It was Artemitep's Boxing Club, a community project created to steer at-risk youths away from drugs and crime. And who was Artemitep? A kind man from Zemesk. I heard he had some trouble with the law when he was younger, and that's why he wanted to start the gym, as his way of giving back. Maybe that's what Kuno needs. A community-centric boxing club. Kuno. Who's Kuno? He's the little ginger gremlin who likes to defile dead bodies. Ah, yes. You mean the kid with the sailor's mouth? Yeah, I've heard him yelling profanities in the backyard. She looks out of the window. It's oddly quiet at the moment. I think it will take more than a gym to help that kid. How did that community project work out? It didn't. If anything, it made the youth situation in Martinez even worse. At some point, someone started a rumour that the punching bag downstairs was full of amphetamines. You should have known it. Eventually, the coalition took away the funding and the club went bankrupt. This was a few years ago. It's got much more peaceful around the plaza ever since. What's up with the broken windows? This one's a mess. There used to be a company that promised to repair windows 24 hours a day. What could go wrong with this one, right? Turns out the business was actually set up as a front for an illicit group that was producing snuff milieu. Who would have guessed? And they never cleaned up the debris either. Now it's just littering the hallway and I have no idea how to get rid of it on my own. It's a shame about the windows. Ooh. What's a snuff milieu? It's a sub-rosa radio station that broadcasts real murders with real victims. Some people pay good money to get off on it. What does she mean, to get off on it? Don't worry, the ICP has a separate division that deals exclusively with unsolicited sub-rosas. The lieutenant turns to you. This isn't our problem. Good luck with that. It's not easy catching those perpetrators. Did someone here make stuffed animals? I saw mounts lying around. You mean Mr. Fabron, the taxidermist? No, he mostly just did drugs. But what drugs? He got high on some weird taxidermy chemicals. I wouldn't even recommend it to anybody. Eventually, they caused him to lose control of his bladder. The smell was awful. Even you can probably do better than that. You can almost see it. A small, sickly old man hunched behind his work desk, his pants stained with old piss, stuffing a sad, stiff-legged raccoon dog. The entire scene looks tragic. I found creepy mannequins. There used to be a fashion atelier here, but I have forgotten the head designer's name. They were doing well for a couple of years, until the insect rights activists came. Just gonna have a bit of my coffee, guys. I didn't know insects had any rights. Or activists, for that matter. Yeah, the atelier didn't know it either. They produced a certain collection that used chitin amongst the materials. Apparently chitin is made in the Occident, where it's extracted from beetle wings. And you know how all kinds of political movements are big in the Occident. The activists shut down the biggest chitin suppliers, which of course caused the price to skyrocket. And naturally, all the most fashionable tastemakers refused to be seen in chitin from then on. The atelier went bankrupt before they could finish the collection. I'm glad that someone took care of the little guys. I like insects. Really. She looks at the windowsill where a dead fly is lying on its back, legs curled up in a bow tie. Anyway. Poor guy. Suddenly you get a feeling that insects are important to the case somehow. It's hard to say why. What's with the rotor blades and skis? They were made by a company called Slipstream. After they pivoted from making rotor blades to skis, their chief executive took off on a vacation with all their money. She rests her chin on her hand with an impish smile. Honestly, I think it's quite funny. I think he's still sending out holiday transmissions from Tallulah or Tiamarutra or Kashtkur or wherever he is. Interesting. What do these transmissions say? The usual, I imagine, that he's been thinking up all kinds of new business plans and can't wait to get started on them just as soon as he returns. Her smile widens before she sees the lieutenant's face behind you. Men like that are a curse. The man is stern. Sure, but Slipstream is history now. All their remaining assets got seized by the bailiffs in 47. I have no idea why those skis and blades are still lying around in the house. Not much use now, I guess. I found a strange machine. Fortress accident. The radio game station. The radio game studio. She closes her eyes as some remnant of a memory flashes up her face. She liked them. They were an interesting bunch. We talked about role-playing systems every now and then. Once I even saw two of them get into fisticuffs over Wirral. They certainly took their work very seriously, even if they seemed to be chronically liberal with their schedules. What do you mean liberal? What happened? The usual. They ran out of money and couldn't get the project done on time. What went wrong? Well, I did hear them talking at times. She looks at the hallway, as if she can still hear them chit-chat behind her curtains on a cigarette break. They seemed to believe that they were historical individuals on some grand quest. From what I've seen so far, the project did look quite impressive. Yeah, but when the money started to run out, they just began to complain a lot about capitalism. You know, how the markets are rigged to keep out new businesses and so on. In the end, they just didn't get it done. They didn't have enough willpower to produce something truly historic and to show up to work on time. She's right. Showing up to work on time is important. Showing up to work on time is hard. No, scratch that. Showing up to work at all is difficult, especially if you've been drinking. Well. That's too bad. I would have supported them. The project looked great. Not the wisest decision. You would have lost all your savings. She tosses a pair of dice on the table. One of them stops near the edge of the metallic desk. The dice is black and filled with little silvery flakes, like snowfall. Anything else? There was a terrifying taxidermied bear in the cellar. Oh boy, the fabled Revachol Ice City. You're in for a treat here. She smiles and leans closer, hands on her knees like a stand-up comedian ready to tell a story. The place was owned by two guys who had some rather innovative ideas about marketing. The bear was one of them. Now ask me about their other ideas. Okay, what about their other ideas? It was really just one, and it involved picking up the prettiest girls in the neighbourhood and paying them 20 cents per hour to man the booth. And by man the booth, I meant slump behind the counter with a face that could maim you if you ever dared to disturb their bored magazine browsing. She leans back, disapproving. Sounds like she didn't really like those girls. Freet does the same thing. I know a girl just like that. She works in Freet as a cashier and she's not particularly friendly. Employing sulky teenage girls is a widespread practice, yes. Unfortunately, they always come in packs. I'm talking about acne-ridden girlfriends and gorilla-like boyfriends loitering near the shop. At least that's what happened with Revachol Ice City. And they already had the bear. She closes her eyes as if remembering something painful. What about the bear? The bear. She repeats, pressing thumbs into her temples, like trying to suppress a headache. It didn't work out? Of course not. The bear was terrifying. No one wants ice cream guarded by a hostile apex predator. To make matters worse, the fridge didn't work very well either, and half the ice cream came out malformed and partially melted. Eventually, Revachol Ice City lost a price war to its rival, Glacier 5000. Glacier 5000 sold caramel sundaes for only 5 cents a piece, out of regular fridges. I killed the bear. You unplugged it. You did what? She rolls her swivel chair an inch closer to you, unsure whether she heard you right. I murdered it with my own bare hands, and I laid it to rest. I don't know what to say there. I had to kill the bear to become the bear. I murdered it with my own bare hands. I laid it to rest. I unplugged the fridge. Unplugged the fridge. Ah, of course, they left it plugged in. Even in death, the bear is still costing them money. The taxidermist who made it said it was his vision beast. He said he met his vision beast while high on desiccants. He called it Megatherion. Scary, but cool. Megatherion? Megatherion, nods the dice maker. A mega wild beast. What's a mega wild beast? It's an imaginary beast that guides you through life. By telling you to do more drugs, mostly. A wise and noble beast guiding you towards the land where the streets are paved with drugs. I do drugs. I've got a vision beast myself. Do you? The dice maker raises an eyebrow. Well, good luck keeping it under control. Anyway, now you know the story of the fallen ice cream empire. She seems almost sad finishing the story. Some dust beams swirl in the morning light. Her eyes follow it idly. Outside it's light. Light scatters from the low-hanging cloud cover. There's always the threat of snow. Anything else? Another failed business, perhaps? I've been here for a long time. I found the building's intercom, but it's not working. Ah, right. She rubs her forehead. Her scarf has left a faint line on her dusty skin. I hope you didn't try to ring me. I think none of the doorbells work, including mine. I'm still in the middle of connecting the wires. Sorry about the confusion. So the doorbell with the empty card name was yours? The name card was yours? That's right. Haven't even written my name there. As I said, it's quite useless right now. It doesn't work. I was wondering about the whirling in rags. Is it part of the same building complex? You could say so. Both houses were built at the same time and under the East Delta Commerce Centre project. That explains why you can call the whirling from the intercom, albeit I doubt that anyone responds. If the whirling is part of the same building, then it's part of the doomed commercial area. The darkness of this place is there too. I have a few more questions. Sure. I have more questions about the intercom. I don't have any more questions about the intercom. 10. I have other questions. We'll leave for now. We'll have a look at our Mazovian socioeconomics. We can start preaching communism to everybody now. Oh, fuck. Fuck. 0.000% of communism has been built. Evil child-murdering billionaires still rule the world with a shit-eating grin. All he has managed to do is make himself sad. He's starting to suspect Krasmazov fucked him over, personally, with his socio-economic theory. It has, however, made him a very, very smart boy with something like a university degree in truth. Instead of building communism, he now builds a precise model of this grotesque, duplicitous world. Left-wing dialogue options give +4 XP, -1 visual calculus, and -1 authority. Those are not good. That was an entirely painful outcome. Bollocks. Bollocks. Let's have a look around and then we'll come back to you. The candy dispenser has been repurposed to contain thousands of dice. This tray is full of dice. Colourful polyhedral dice. Hundreds of them. Was it visual calculus we needed to... Was it visual calculus? I feel like it was. Shivers. Okay, I'm talking about bollocks then, aren't I? So we need to improve our shivers. I feel like there was something that gave us shivers amongst our collection of items. But I could be mistaken. L'esprit de corps. No, we've royally fucked that up then. I'd like to order a die from you. Of course, she nods. This is what she's here for. Tell me what you have in mind. Tell me about your most extraordinary die. A star that fell from the firmament? Those cost more than 7 real, are you sure? I'm a superstar, and superstars don't care about money. Yes, you definitely have the proper attitude. How about a pair of 100-sided dice made of ivory and inlaid with lodestone, a naturally occurring magnet to complement your magnetic personality? 10 real and I can get those ready in 8 hours. Do magnetic dice even roll properly? It's true. Magnetic dice are definitely different when rolled together. When rolled together, magnetic fields of the pips interact with each other to push and pull on each other as they are rolled, just like magnetic personalities do. I need to think about it first. Do you know the Wirral Untethered setting? I want to die for that. Ah, yes. Fortress Accident. She shakes her head lightly. It's too bad they never finished their game. The Wirral Untethered die is a variation of a standard role-playing die, only instead of plants, it uses motifs of ice and death. And loss, of course. I'm thinking something made from alligator jawbone, cast in black resin. The reptile bone is as white as ice and dead as, well, death. She smiles. For 7 real, I could have it ready in 8 hours. What's a standard role-playing die? It's a... well, I don't even know what that is. Icoside tetrahedron, a 24-sided dice that can produce results for a 2-sided dice, 3-sided, 4-sided, 6-sided, and 12-sided. With a single roll. Technically, you can use it for many other sizes, but you may need to re-roll results. Why do you need to cast it in resin? Untreated bone is porous and prone to chipping. Cast it in something hard like resin though, and voila, it is perfect. Maybe I should get a different one. Do you have any cursed dice? What do you mean by cursed? As cursed as this commercial area. Alright, how about I surprise you? Come back in 8 hours with 7 real, and I give you your cursed dice. What kind of dice do you think fits my personality? I think I have just the right one for you. She opens the top drawer of her work desk and takes something out. 2 polyhedrons, red and blue, are cradled in her palm. Police colours. Because I'm a police officer. Not the most original, I know, she smiles, almost apologising. But sometimes the obvious choice is obvious because it's best. Here, catch. She tosses you the dice. They're a gift from me. This isn't going to work out. My hand-eye coordination is toss. You overthink it. Your hands can't agree what to do, and the 2 dice drop to the floor and scatter in opposite directions like pearls from a broken string. The blue one disappears down the pit in the centre of the room. Ah, down the drain like your career, jokes the dice maker, her eyes tracking the remaining polyhedron, and she catches your eye. I apologise, officer. That comment was unnecessary. Pick up the red die. That one is made of bloodstone with a lapis lazuli inlay. The other one was the inverse. They were a set, you see, but now the set is broken. It's a shame. They might have brought you luck, and you'll definitely need luck in Martinez. She closes her desk drawer. Is she pitying you? Good God, she's pitying you. That sucks. As you turn, a bright light catches your eye, making you squint. Where's it coming from? From a distant sunset? A stage light? Flash photography? Nowhere in particular? It's just what superstar law officers do. They squint at lights and they solve shit. Yeah, that's me. I've been establishing my superstardom hard lately. Yeah, you have. You're a big dick cop. Dick Mullen. Salam Rocky Bye. Badass on the edge disco cop. Time to recede into a ludicrous fantasy world. Here we go. Camera, lights, action. With a sudden flash, the world freezes around you, and you along with it. In an iconic monochrome solution, a black silhouette against a rasterized orange world. It's on. We have unlocked the ability to have some kind of superstar. First, let's make this absolutely clear. No one is saying you're an actual superstar in the groupies and cocaine riddled with hepatitis C. Strikes a lioness pose with a mic kind of way. You're not Guillaume Le Million or Davy Jewis. You're a metaphorical superstar. You bring that rock and roll authenticity and a passion to a line of work where people don't expect to see it. Where some would say it doesn't belong. Law enforcement. Right, we need 2 more points and then we can unlock that. So we will acquire 2 more points somehow. Is there any way to locate my dice? I doubt it somehow. That's disappointing. This 20-sided die is made of bloodstone and inlaid with lapis lazuli. Its colours resembling police sirens. Its blue partner is missing. Kinda looks like the fire department arriving at the scene. Got fucked. Shit fingers. Note. Look at the map tab in journal to see which white checks have opened. Okay. Journal. Map. Have we got a new one? Novelty dice maker. I would like to find my dice that I lost. My die. Die. Singular. Die. Okay, I think that's the end of that episode. We will attempt to locate our die. I can't imagine we're going to find it though. It possibly fell down the chimney. So we're going to go into the basement and have a look for it. That'll be next time. Thanks very much for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Anything else you can think of that makes a YouTube video great. Thanks for joining me. I'll catch you next time. Cheerio now. Bye bye.